Hello, hi everyone. In this video, I would like to show you how to create a workflow. More specifically, I would like to show you how to use the core activity, which is the switch. Switch is one of the conditions that is available here among all the other conditions. We already seen before in other videos how to use the if conditions and so on. So now we are going to use the switch condition, and we are going to be based on the priority level. We're gonna use that on that part. So let me explain what this workflow is doing, and then let's start to create this one from scratch. Even before that, we are going to use the application called NeedIT, and that application you can only have if you install from GitHub repository. So the first prerequisite is to get a you have to get a developer servicenow.com and create a developer account. Once you have that, you have a lot of exercise, and you can find very easily where you can for example how to how to say how to install a NeedIT application. Here we have the NeedIT application. Here one of the exercise, automating application logic. They will explain you how to install, and that's very easy. All you need to do is to follow the instructions. So let me bring back to the workflow and explain what it is going to do. So we are going to work on the NeedIT application. I'm going to open one, NeedIT, and if I see here, I have nothing. So I create a new one, and you can see here priority. We have different like a list of options. So we have non-critical, high, moderate, low, planning. So we're gonna switch on this level. Okay. So when the person is creating a NeedIT request, and we're gonna put two different conditions. It's going to be the state awaiting approval, and depending on the priority level, we're gonna direct our action. Also, it's going to be a specific person is going to be able tutor. This person able tutor is going to be, so these three conditions should be fulfilled in order to run our workflow. So we're gonna do that on different part of our in our workflow. The first thing here you have, when you choose the priority, and I put together critical, high, and moderate, is going to check directly who is the user, if it is able, and is going to send for approval. So the manager can either approve or reject. If the priority is low, in this case we're gonna still check who is the user is requesting, but as it's low and planning, we're gonna keep it like not sending for approval, but just creating a task for the system administrator, which means me, and then I'm going to complete that task in order to finish the workflow. So that's the whole workflow is going to do, and the main thing is creating a switch and using all different other core activities. So let's start to create one. So I'm going to delete this one. Okay. So I click on new workflow, and I'm gonna put directing request depending on the level of priority. Okay, it's a very long title, and here I'm gonna put NeedIT. Great. So if condition matches is run the workflow always, and I'm going to choose the state as awaiting approval. That's our first condition. So it's going to create two different things in our canvas. So the beginning of the workflow and the end, we're going to progressively add each different core activities. So I'm going to drag and drop switch. So I'm going to little bit repeat the title. Here I'm going to say directing request based on priority. Okay, so here we are going to, in the type field, we're going to choose this one, field, and then here we have the menu, and we scroll down until we found the priority. So it's here. I'm going to just click on priority. I click on submit. It's going to automatically create the switch with all the options available. So for none, so if there is no how to say, priority is going to end directly. So what will happen if it is critical, high, and moderate? So we're gonna first direct, so transit this 3 different level of priority to check the condition if the user is able tutor. So I'm gonna drag and drop again the condition if the requester is able tutor, and I'm gonna type here requester for able tutor, submit. Great. So I'm gonna put it a little bit up, and I'm gonna connect the nodes to here. So both 3 levels, going to check that, and if it is yes, we're gonna send for approval, right? So we're gonna send for approval to the manager of able, and I'm gonna put send for approval to Fred. And I know, as I did multiple times, the manager is Fred Liddy for able tutor. So I'm gonna click on requested for this plus button, and then I click on manager. This syntax is called dot walking, and it's enabling you to find the manager of able and then send for approvals. The rest of the fields you don't need to touch, need to complete it, you can directly submit. So that part is done. So now we're gonna connect this to this one, and what happens if it is approved? We have to set the values. So either the need IT request is going to be approved, so we're gonna set the value approved and reject. So for that, we are gonna scroll down to utilities and grab this. We're gonna just set values. We're gonna drag and drop this and put set the state value to approved, and we're gonna put state is approved, submit. Great. I'm gonna just connect it to this one, and it's gonna finish it. Okay, if it is rejected, what we should do? So we have one option here, we can copy paste the activity. So all you need to do is to right click on the block, and copy activity is going to create a new one. You can directly connect, and you double click on it in order to change the title. So I'm gonna put the thing to withdrawn and set the state value to withdrawn. Okay, so that's all we need to do here. Done. So if that part is done, we're gonna end the workflow. And if it is not able tutor, we're gonna make it simple. We're gonna directly end the workflow as well. So I'm gonna just make it a little bit clear because there is a lot of transition. And maybe it's confusing if we are not setting properly. So now it's a bit much more clear. So we have here critical, high, moderate is going to check who is the user and then send for approval. The user can either approve or reject depending on the output. Is going to change the value of the need IT request. So it's going to, if the manager reject, is gonna set withdrawn to the state of the need IT request, or alternatively is going to say approve if the person approve, and then it's gonna end the workflow. Now is the time to do the same thing, but for low and planning, and for that we're going to use the same thing, like we're going to just copy paste this activity, the if activity, copy. So I have another one here. I'm going to just link both of them. Great. So now it's like kind of separated, and we are going to create a task. We are not sending for approval, because the logic here is more like, okay, is the priority is low, don't need to send for approval, let's create a task and assign to someone, and then that person going to fulfill the task, and the workflow will be finished. So for that, we have to go to task, and here, as you can see here, create task, you just drag and drop, and I say task for admin. Okay, and here assign to a system administrator, in this case it's me, and I'm going to put the title please review. Okay, submit, done. So I'm going to connect. If it is true, I'm going to create a task, and then we're gonna end the workflow. Okay, so that is done. If it is a no, it's a direct hand. So the only thing we are doing here is to create a task and then assign to me, and that person me, I'm going to close it. And if it is the priority is low, I'm going to check if it is able tutor, and if it is not, we're gonna end it directly. The main purpose here is to just use different core activities. Sometimes it doesn't have the whole logic of a business process. It's just to try to use different options that we have here in order to learn and understand how this thing works. Okay, and for me, at this point, everything is correct. I will try to like kind of make it much more clear by putting like these things like this. Okay, hope it's clear now. Okay, so much more clear. We can see the low and planning is going here, and the critical, high, and moderate is going to this direction, and we have here like this. It's much more clear than before. Okay, so now we're gonna validate this workflow. As you can see, everything is green, no warning, no critical. So I'm gonna click on OK. Perfect, it's done. Let me check if I have any other thing created. So no task created, no need IT request created, and let me also check if there is already any context. No. So now we can start to check if this thing working. So first, what I'm going to do is to check for critical and what is going to happen, and then for if it is low, what is going to happen for the need IT request when I'm going to create. So let's do that. I'm going here, create new, and it's going to be able tutor. That's our condition here, and it's going to be first like critical, and put awaiting approval. I submit it, so I have to put a date. Great, submit, done. So I'm gonna run the context to see where we are actually. So it's executing. I click on the timestamp and open show workflow. As you can see here, it went through the critical node. That's where it's doing the transition. It checked if it is able tutor, and it's at this point it should send for approval to Fred. So let's check if Fred have received something. So I'm going to be Fred at some point here, and I have to type service desk, and I go to my approvals, and I can see there is one record for requested. I click here, and I'm going to be nice. I'm going to approve this one. Great. Great, it's approved. Let's check if once more what happened. So as you can see here, it was approved. It set the state value to approved, and it's end the workflow. Let's check if the need IT request, the state of the need IT request has changed or not. So I go to need IT and I click on all, and I can see here is approved. I'm gonna delete this one. Great. Task, I have nothing, and I'm gonna also delete the current context. Okay, let's do that again, but this time I'm gonna reject. Let's see what is going to happen. So I'm gonna close this one, and I open this, and I create a new, and it's going to be Abo tutor. It's going to be hi. Let's put hi, awaiting approval, and let's put a date here. The thing submit. Great. So it's hi. We have at this point it should send as well for approval. Let's check that here in the show context. So it's executing. Yeah, click on the timestamp, show workflow. As you can see here, it went through, and you can see here it went through the node hi, this one, and then here now depending on the action. So I'm going to reject. So let's impersonate to Fred and go to service desk, my approval. I have the request here. So if I click on reject, it's not letting me do directly. It's putting me this message error. So I discover later I have to change here to reject, and then put some comments. I'm gonna put test, and you can reject now. So now it's rejected. Let's impersonate to system administrator and check the workflow again. So it went through this node. As you can see, this transition, it was rejected, and it should be the value, the state value of the need IT request, it should be withdrawn. Let's check that. So need IT all, as you can see here, withdrawn. So now I'm gonna make another last experience, or maybe one more. This time I'm going to use low or planning in order to check if it is going to create a task or not. Okay, so also I'm going to delete if there is any existing context, because it can be confusing later. So I'm gonna delete that one. Great. So now let's create a need IT request, and it's going to be low. Let's put planning, awaiting approval, Abo tutor. Let's put a random date. I click on submit. In this case here, there is no send for approvals. All he is going to do is, let's check if it's going to create a task for me and I can approve it or not. Okay, so I'm gonna close this one. I'm gonna close this one. Okay, I don't need this one. Okay. So let's check the workflow where we are actually. So it's executing, and if I click on that show workflow, it's created a task as per the workflow. Let's see if I have a task. So I'm still on the administrator. I click on need ID task. I have a task open, so I can close it in order to finish the workflow. So I can click on close complete and update. So this one is done, and let's check what's going to happen in the workflow now. So it's ended the workflow, so perfectly done. Let's do one more, the last one. Whatever the level of priority, we're going to choose like not able to, there's someone else, and let's see what is going to happen. So I'm going to close this one I don't need. Okay, and I don't want any task. I'm going to click all, and I don't need this one for now as well. So I'm going to create a new, and also if there is any context, I'm gonna delete it. It's deleted. Okay, perfect. So now we are going to, let's say we're gonna put moderate, awaiting approval, but it's not going to be available, it's going to be Adela Cervantes, and I'm going to choose a different date. Submit. At this point, as per our workflow, it's checking, so we have set as moderate, so it should go from this node, and then it's going to check if it's not, is going to say is not the person, and it should end in this way. So like this, moderate, and then no, it's going to be blue from this transition, and it's going to end. So let's see if that thing works. So I'm here, show context, so finished, so it's that we have one workflow finished. So workflow, as you can see here, it started from the moderate and went through, it's not able to tutor, is gonna end the workflow. Hope you like it. Thank you for watching. Just to show you how to use different core activities, and mainly for the switch core activity. Thanks for watching. Bye. Have a nice day.